In this video, we have got a 104 kill game on Empire State Conquest with the USG-90, or more commonly known as the P90. Stick around in just a second, I'll get into the pros and cons of this gun, how you want to use this gun generally, and of course how to play on Empire State to do as good as you can for your team, and to of course get the highest amount of kills that you possibly can. My recommended gun build is in the top pinned comment below, rather than the gun build used in this game, because this was my first full game with USG-90 and it was below mastery level 10. And of course, if you do find anything useful in this video, please do smash a like for me. But let's get straight into the pros and cons. Firstly, and probably the most obvious pro, is that it's going to be the magazine size. The USG-90 comes in with its base mag size of 50 rounds, 51 in total if you include the extra one in the chamber, which is the second largest mag size out of any of the SMGs in the game, only behind the SL9, which of course requires around 40 points to upgrade it from 30 to 60 rounds. So the largest base magazine size out of all the SMGs in the game, and the second largest potential magazine size that you can get, including attachments on all the SMGs in the game. And a big benefit here of the 50 round mag being the base standard magazine size is it only comes in at a total points cost of 5 points. In terms of other pros, it comes in with a 900 rate of fire, being the third fastest for fire rate out of all the SMGs in Battlefield 6. And it also has a 712 meters a second bullet velocity when using the extended barrel, which is going to be the fastest bullet velocity you can get out of all the SMGs in the game also. The high rate of fire paired with a high bullet velocity is going to make the USG-90 feel like one of the most responsive SMGs in the game, because bullets are going to fly faster, hit the target faster, and therefore overall hit detection is going to feel very nice. Lastly, in terms of the pros of the USG-90, it is going to revolve around the overall points cost and the attachments which you can choose on the gun. As already mentioned, the base magazine size of 50 rounds only comes in at a cost of 5 points, and you can also not select any grips on the USG-90, which is also not going to take up any points. So if anything, you're going to find it a challenge to actually fill out all 100 points of attachments, but overall this is a massive pro because you can select pretty much all the best attachments in all the other attachment slots that are available on this gun, such as the hollow point rounds, which of course increase the headshot damage multiplier to 1.5 times. And these high headshot damage rounds are a luxury item in Battlefield 6 and not something that you can always put onto all of the other guns, because of course other attachments such as your muzzle, such as your barrel, such as your grip are going to be the priorities. Okay, so let's move on to the cons of the USG-90, with the smallest con being that you've only got one magazine option, which is the 50 round one, coming in at a points cost of 5. Now, this makes sense given the unique design of the mag and the gun in general, but there is no option, of course, to change to a lower magazine size to potentially increase other stats, such as mobility. But I don't think this is something that a lot of people are going to complain about, given that it's the second largest magazine size that you can get on any of the SMGs for such a low points cost. So really the only con surrounding that is customization options. To add further to the list of cons on the USG-90, the next one is going to be the reload time, of which the base reload time comes in at 3 seconds, but can be improved with the mag catch to 2.8 seconds. So you might think, well, that's not that bad considering you've got a 50 round mag. You'd expect to have a slightly slower reload time compared to other SMGs in the game, which of course are going to have a lower magazine size. But in terms of comparing it to the SL9, which has the largest potential mag size of 60 rounds, the SL9 comes in with a reload time, when you've also got the mag catch attachment on, of 2.5 seconds. So 0.3 seconds faster than the P90, which of course has got 10 less rounds. So I would consider that a disadvantage there versus the SL9. In terms of other cons, we can talk about the damage model of the USG-90, which says that it comes in with a base damage of 20 before any damage drop off. So when you consider the 50 round magazine, this could mean for 5 bullets per kill that it could get a potential kills per magazine of 10. However, when you do test it out in the firing range, the damage actually drops off from 20 down to 18 as soon as you go over 10 meters, which therefore puts it at 6 bullets to kill and therefore only 8 potential kills per magazine. However, I wouldn't consider that a con. It's simply just stating that the kill potential per magazine is not as good as it looks, and of course to not really consider the 20 damage as the base damage value, because you're not really going to engage most of the time at less than 10 meters, even with shotguns or even the closest guns in the game. In terms of the final cons of the USG-90, as already mentioned in terms of the attachments, you cannot put a grip on this gun, so you therefore cannot increase your precision or control stats in this way. And the final con is going to be that the lowest potential ADS time that you can actually get is 167 meters a second. And of course, other SMGs in the game can get even lower, down to around about 133 meters a second. And the fact that you cannot put a grip on this gun, which will of course quicken the ADS time, is one of the factors which contributes to this. And I would actually add one final con to the USG-90, which is going to be its recoil. It's not extremely high in terms of vertical recoil, but it does have quite a bit of horizontal recoil, which means that when you do start to go from those more medium to long range engagements, you are going to start to miss quite a lot of bullets because of the gun, or rather the sight, bouncing side to side of the target which you're aiming, and it's therefore going to take a lot more bullets to be shot down range to actually secure and get the kill, because it feels like half of your shots are actually going to be missing the target. But of course, overall, this is a gun that you want to mainly use at close range, so not a massive issue, but something definitely to consider in terms of long range ability. So that pretty much covers the pros and cons of the USG-90, so let's now talk about how you want to be using this gun generally to do well. And of course, if you have watched this far and have found anything useful, please smash a like for me, and do consider subscribing if you're not subscribed already. The USG-90 is definitely a gun that you want to stick to using at close range, not medium to long range, thanks to its high horizontal recoil and of course its low damage. Even using it in semi-auto mode is probably not a good idea because it's low damage and you will get beaten by most other guns at medium to long range. Because the gun cannot get as quick an ADS time as some of the other SMGs in the game, I would not recommend to use this SMG as the one which you're going to constantly aggressively run around and run and gun with to try and win 1v1 gunfights, because that, even though small difference in the ADS time, it is going to be the difference a lot of the time of you of course staying alive and getting the kill, or simply just dying. The way you want to probably play with this gun is to add a suppressor onto the gun, which I will obviously do once I unlock it, and to try and play more so with good positioning, trying to catch enemies off guard, trying to avoid those 1v1 gunfights, and mainly using its high ammo capacity per magazine of 50 rounds for flanking, as I've said, being able to take out 8 potential enemies in terms of its 8 kill potential per magazine. Lastly, the USG-90 is going to be one of the best defensive SMGs in the game, and that's thanks to its high ammo capacity of 50 rounds paired with its fast fire rate. If you can get within close range in and around the objectives or the flags and set up with a shield, or in, good pieces of cover, you can pretty much lock down an entire entranceway or a doorway from 1 or even 2 potential squads, simply because you've got 50 rounds and a fast fire rate to be able to take out multiple enemies quickly before they can rush you. And of course, holding down a specific position or a doorway allows you to stay pre-aimed at that doorway as enemies push you, rather than you pushing them and putting yourself at the disadvantage of not having the quicker ADS time. Right, so we have 2 minutes left of this video, so let's very briefly go over what you want to be doing with an SMG and of course playing close range on Empire State in Conquest. As you might have seen in my previous 100 kill games when playing Empire State, I've always said how the centre of the map around C Flag is going to be the direct hotspot where the most potential players are always going to be in the game. You've got good elevated positions of high ground overlooking the flag, which of course can make it really easy to kill anybody who is trying to catch the flag or is simply trying to spawn there and push off of the flag to travel across the map to other areas. When playing close range with an SMG, Standing on those elevated positions is possible to do, but I would not recommend actually standing in the windows overlooking C flag. I would rather play the defensive approach, which I suggested with the P90, or rather the USG-90, and try and cut the enemies off as they come from either side of the map to the center of the map at C flag. So, for example here, where the enemies are now capturing D, I would want to try and get to the elevated position, the other side of C flag now, to be able to cut the enemies off as they run from D flag to C flag. Of course, the enemies being focused on getting to C flag and will give me the advantage in terms of element of surprise, catching them off on the pathway between D and C flag. Likewise here, if the enemies had B flag, I would be on the highest elevated position above where I am now, cutting the enemies off as they go through to the center of the map too. But yeah, that pretty much concludes this video. Please smash a like for me, and on screen now will be the playlist for all other 100 bomb videos done so far.